Hi, welcome back to This Lovely Stitch, and in today's video, I'm sitting a little bit further back because I'm going to be cleaning this blanket. So this blanket is huge. I'll probably insert a video while I'm talking, but this blanket was the first blanket I ever made and the first major knitting project I ever did. So I made this blanket when I was in, I have to think back, when I was in 6th grade, which is now 8 years ago. So yeah, this blanket has been with me through thick and thin. There's definitely mistakes in it because it was my first project, but it's still one of my favorite things that I've ever made. So since I've been gone for college, I go to college out of state in Georgia, but live in Maryland. So I left this blanket at home and I just left it on my bedroom, like my bed here at home, and my dog has taken to laying on it, which normally would be fine because like when I'm here I can see like, okay, if the dog is wet, if the dog is muddy, they're not gonna lay on it, I can wash it properly. But yeah, since I haven't been here for months, the dog has been laying on it, with muddy, wet paws, just like wet dog smell, whatever. When I went to take out this blanket, when I first came back, I was like, oh, this blanket has a smell to it, and it's not human smell. So it definitely is time overdue for a wash. I have washed it in the time since I originally made it. Usually I wash it twice a year, but this twice a year wash is gonna have to come early in 2026 because the blanket is so smelly. But this also has inspired me, this whole debacle, to maybe crochet or knit a blanket for my dog that can be her designated doggy blanket. But until then, it's time to wash this blanket. So I just thought this would be a great quick video to go over how I wash my blankets and how to do a deep clean of them. I think washing your crochet knits is definitely essential. This blanket was made out of 100% acrylic yarn. It was made out of one of those Karen cakes. I'm really not sure which one it was now because it's been such a long time, but made out of the Karen cake yarn, 100% acrylic. So normally I can just like soak this. I'll usually soak this in some hot water, baking soda and vinegar, and then throw it in the wash on delicate and then delicate dry. But because it's so stinky, I'm going to wash it by hand entirely and then just throw it in the wash at the very end as like a final touch and to add some of like those scent beads to it. But anyway, just gonna get into showing how I revive this blanket. There's some other things I want to do to it as well, like I want to depill it because just since I've had it for a long time and it's acrylic yarn, there are little fuzzies on it, which isn't a big deal. It doesn't mean that the blanket is dirty. Just as some things that I want to like sharpen up and make the blanket good as new. And then when I leave for college in a couple days to go back to Georgia, I am going to put this blanket on a shelf in my closet so my dog isn't just casually laying on it. I think I also put a video of my dog laying on it. She'll also lay under it, which I don't know. Comment down below if your dogs lay under blankets, because my dog will like weasel her way under a blanket and lay on top of it. So both sides are dirty. But anyway, here is the blanket. This is the before, so we'll see how it looks at the end. It is super big, so I don't know if I can get it all in frame. I'll probably have to insert another video of it all in frame, but it's like longer than my arms. So yeah, pretty big. The first step though is to clean out. We have this, I don't know what you would call it, like a farmhouse sink in our laundry room, but that's kind of like just the dumping ground for like juices and like random rags and whatever. So I'm going to clean that out. That way it's clean to actually put the blanket in and we're not just making the situation worse and more dirty. So let's go do that and then I'll show the next step. Okay, so I'm in the laundry room. I just finished washing out this basin. It doesn't look necessarily clean, but this is like super old, so every stain and spot is not gonna come out, but it is clean. I washed it just like once with Fabuloso. Well, first I washed it with bleach, then I washed it with Fabuloso, and then I made sure to rinse it a couple times so all the bleach and cleaner is out and not seeping into the blanket. So I'm going to be doing this whole process in 2 washes. The first wash is going to be detergent and baking soda. The second wash is going to be vinegar and fabric softener. And then after that, I'm just going to put it in the dryer to dry on delicate. After that, I'll get to the other parts of how I'm going to remove some of the fuzziness, fix some mistakes that are like easily fixable, and just do some like little mending on the blanket. But anyway, without further ado, I'm going to fill it up for the first wash and we'll see how dirty the water is. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty dirty because I did see some pretty big mud stains on here. So let's get started. Okay, I've added the baking soda and the vinegar, so now I'm just squeezing just to make sure it gets through all the blanket, just because it is folded up in certain places. But just before doing anything, you can already see the water is definitely a little bit murkier, a little bit browner. So there's definitely stuff in this one kit just needs a little time and a little bit of work to get out. One important thing is you want to make sure if you're doing this at home that you're not rubbing from side to side like that, because especially with acrylic yarn, it's going to create those like pilling and the fuzzies. So I just like go down and then squeeze, and I'm squeezing pretty gently. And the water I'm using, because acrylic is essentially plastic, I'm not using super hot water, it's like lukewarm. So just squeezing and moving it around to make sure the detergent and the baking soda gets really in there. And then I'm going to just leave this to set for about 30 minutes, and then I'll come back, rinse the solution out, and do the second wash, and then I'll get ready to dry and move on to the next step. All right, one last water check before I leave this for 30 minutes. Yeah, we can definitely see a big difference in the water clearness. So I'm gonna leave this for 30 minutes and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm back in the laundry room. Time to look at the water, drain this out, and then this next round is going to be softener and vinegar, and then we'll throw it in the washing machine. Okay, so it's been about 30 minutes now, a little bit more. You can see the water is brown. I would think that the water was like so clear when I originally washed it, and I was actually having second thoughts. I'm like, maybe the scent is in my head, but yeah, nonetheless, it was not in my head. So I'm going to drain the water, and actually I'm going to take this out and then drain the water and rinse it and start the next wash. So let me do that now. Let me find a good bucket. All right, fabric softener. And I'm just gonna knead it in just to make sure it gets all mixed up. Vinegar. Just gonna mix this up, and then I'm going to leave this to set for 30 minutes as well. Then we'll throw this in the wash and in the dryer. Okay, so 30 minutes later, I'm going to empty out this, put it in the wash, and then we're so close to being done. So let's look at the water. Just bringing you guys closer. Okay, so it's been sitting for a while. The water is not super warm anymore, but you can see the water is pretty clear. I let it sit for a little bit longer, more like an hour, just because I really wanted the softener to get in there. And even just feeling it in the water, it feels like less coarse. So yeah, the water is a little bit blue because the softener is tinted blue. So I was kind of expecting that, but even still, I'm glad to see that it's not, like, it doesn't have a brown tint to it. So the good thing about this is that because it is already been washed out and we're gonna put it in the wash just to be extra double sure, I don't have to rinse out this wash. I'm just going to let out the water from the sink and put it in the washing machine. Okay, I'm back. Clearly it's a couple days later, new hair, whatever. But I'm finishing this blanket. So last I left off, I think I put it in the dryer and in the washing machine on delicate on both settings actually. So this is the last thing I do to my blankets just to kind of sharpen them up, give them new life, is I just cut off the little fuzzies. So I'm looking for my scissors right now. Okay, here we go. Now normally you use a shaver. Let me see, or not a shaver, a razor, what am I saying? This is like a razor. You could use a razor like that to just shave off the fuzzy pieces, but because this is so old, like as you can see, it's just kind of it's too fuzzy to do that, and I don't want to risk accidentally cutting the actual yarn. So what I go through and what I do instead is I just get some sharp scissors and I go anywhere that there's like, it's really fuzzy, I just kind of go along the edge. And this is a process where, let me try to bring it down a little bit. This is a process where it's better to be slow and happy with what you do than fast and make mistakes that you're unhappy with. So like as you can see, I'll try to bring you closer even still to show what I'm doing. So usually I put a finger under, go like this, and then I just glance over it like that. And some are super easy to see like this. You can kind of see it's a little bit fluffy. So I just cut off the little edges. And you could use, if you have an anti-pill, like one of those little anti-pill machine or shavers where you go over the top and it's kind of circular, you could use that. But since this blanket is just so pilly and old, I just prefer to do it by hand because usually like the spots that I'm cutting out are super kind of big and obvious. So I don't need to like have a whole separate process. But anyway, I'm going to do this and then the blanket will be done. So I'm gonna work on this. This will probably only take me 10 minutes since I'm not trying to get it perfect. There's still gonna be little pills on it. It's not the end of the world. This is a really old blanket. So just gonna continue working on that for like about 10 minutes and then I will be done with the blanket and I'll show the final.
And everything that's going on, and also it's just kind of a trendy thing now. It's been popping up on like these super cheap Temu, whatever sites, and I just don't want to be associated with that, and I don't want to, you know, compete with their prices because I cannot. So this is the last year of my flower shop. Now I'm going to be going through a lot of the designs and I'll be talking about, sorry, they're all over.
Okay, so I just finished getting ready to leave, but the blanket is done. I'm so happy with it. I think it's definitely gotten the facelift it needed, but here is the finished blanket. If you like this video, please make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later this week. Bye-bye.